23rd, 3 p.m. I will call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. You will please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In front of you, you have the minutes from our previous meeting of May 19th. You'll take a moment to look at them, see if we have any additions and/or deletions. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. At this time, we'll turn the meeting over to Brett.
Thank you. As we get started today, we have two cases, our first two historic cases that have went to the board this year. So just as a reminder, our historic zoning cases can only be voted on by the Historic Zoning Commission members. If any of the common design members would like to make a comment, we just ask that you come down and do so as a member of the public. With that being said, we get into the first case, 8G2 2025. It's the application of Bill and Fran Powers with the agent of Jonathan Clark. Reason for the request is proposed new residential home to be located within the downtown central business district. See attached drawings for property located at 118 Public Square. And that is the Public Square Historic District highlighted in pink on your screen, and the site of the proposed building in blue. Before we get going looking at the images of the site, as always, thanks to Mr. David Smith for shooting the shots that you will see today. This is looking into the site where the two dumpsters are staged, is where the new structure will be going. And another one just kind of zoomed in a little more onto the site. This one is looking from the rear back towards City Hall. Again, where the two dumpsters are staged is where the new structure will be going. One looking straight down onto the site, and then one more almost at street level with the buildings that it will adjoin there. This is the site plan or building footprint, if you will, showing where it will how it will marry up with the building next to it. And then the elevations that were submitted. Starting in the top left is how it will be viewed from Public Square. The bottom middle is the side view, so from the little alley there. And then the top right is the rear elevation of the structure. Starting from the ground up, it's a natural limestone veneer base, which will wrap all the way around the building. The rest of the building is majority brick. It's a brick from the Cherokee Brick Company. The color is Stratton, which is a red base with subtle variations in tone. On the front elevation, it's kind of hard to tell here, but there is a soldier course brick pattern that will wrap around to the side just a little bit. In the center of the building, you have a cast stone belt cornice. And you also have cast stone lintels as well over the windows. And then up to the top on the front elevation, you have, it's a terraced rooftop deck area. The materials up here is a painted cementitious siding with a standing seam copper roof and a copper cornice cap, which will be visible from the side elevation here. Staff comments, this application does appear to meet the intent of the downtown urban design overlay for advisory building height, massing, facade, articulation, and materials, and section 9.3, the historic zoning ordinance. And I will answer any questions of the staff if there are any.
Anybody have any questions for Brett? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I know you said it's gonna be a residential home or resident, whatever you wanna call it, but is this gonna be like an Airbnb or for rent, or are they moving there, or what is this?
I'll defer to the agent or applicant. They're both here to answer
Thank
that
you.
question.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, we will now open the public hearing for case HZ-2-2025. If there's anyone here that wishes to speak in favor, please come forward and state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. I will have my phone buzzer. If you hear the buzzer go off, that means please start wrapping it up. That means your 3 minutes has expired. Is there anybody that wishes to come forward to speak in favor?
Good afternoon. My name is John Clark. Most of you know me. I'm a local architect. We've designed this facility. It is going to be a residence. I do not currently think there's any plans for any sort of VRBO, Airbnb. This is going to be primarily owned by the Powers family. And essentially how it was discussed with me would be a nice place to congregate, allow people to come in, have little pre-parties before maybe we go over to the new arena or whatever else starts to surface downtown, which I understand there's a few things in the workings right now, but I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have.
Does anybody have any questions?
I got a
Mr. Clark?
question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said it's just gonna be like a social place for events,
It's basically gonna be a secondary residence for the Powers family.
or a secondary, okay.
Any other questions? Thanks.
I have one, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Does the elevation, the side elevation, is the lot next to it gonna never be built on?
Lot. Talking about
Is
the
it a-
out, talking
is it
about
a
the.
drive? Is it
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah,
alley?
it's the driveway that runs in to allow access to the Poston building and.
So it's not just infield, it's an alley?
It's a drive.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
it's an alley, Doug, yes.
Does the height of this cover the height of the adjacent building?
It does. In the front, the actual height of this building along Public Square is gonna be over 40 feet tall.
So that.
It actually will eclipse the building next door, just because we've got the moldings coming around. We wanna make sure that cleared. And in the back side of the lot, definitely, it'll have even more of a prominent height appearance.
So the temporary siding we allowed on the previous building will be covered up by your building?
Yes, the board and batten look that you see that's matted up against the existing building now will no longer be able to be seen.
Perfect.
Zero. We're up against it and we'll have to rate it. We're gonna do a
Yeah.
2-hour firewall there.
Sure,
Yep.
sure.
Any other questions for Mr. Clark?
I think you answered my question, John. Single residence just seems a little, I don't want to say selling it short. It's a very big lot, and I was just curious. It looks like a single residence. That felt like this could get 3 or 4 units on it, but it has its own purposes. But I think you designed a lovely building to fit in with everything else that's down there.
Well, yes, and the Powers wanted just it to be a residential feel, and that's what it is. And we had several communications with the building department about it, and however long that building is in existence, it will never be able to be anything but a single-family residence.
Fair.
Any other questions for Mr. Clark? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank y'all.
Would anyone else like to come up and speak in favor of it? You will have 3 minutes. Please state your name and your address. Anyone wish to speak in favor? Going once, going twice. Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Please come forward, state your name and your address. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone in opposition? Seeing none, we will now close the public hearing at this point. Do we have any other questions or motions?
Motion for approval.
Motion been made for approval?
Second.
And properly seconded. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries.
All right, final case today, and I will go back real quick. All historic zoning cases, we notify adjoining property owners. In this case, a lot of them probably got 2 letters because they're almost side by side, so in a rare occurrence here. But all adjoining property owners were notified on both these cases. So final case today is HG 3-2025. It's the application of Tap This LLC. The reason for the request is a colorful positive mural. White paint was already on the side of the building. Awning and white paint added to match. We've added Tennessee-specific images with the right wing of the butterfly for property located at 122 Public Square. Again, the Public Square Historic District is on your screen. It is across the alley that was just mentioned from the new structure that will be built. And it adjoins the Poston building. This is from Google Street View from August of last year. Had to go to Google Street View because this is a case where the work has already been completed. This is the front facade as it currently sits today. They have painted the red brick white along the front, added a sign and an awning as well. This is the side of the building. The side was white, painted cinder block, and now obviously the mural is on it. The staff would consider a mural like this signage, whereas in the historic district there's 9 square foot of signage is allowed. And this is the rear of the building, which I believe also, trying to work Google Street View around, off of Spring Street, I think the rear of the building was painted as well. The deck is new, but it looked like a deck was there at one time, so it was just refurbished there. Staff comments, we've seen this a lot lately. Brick shall not be painted unless it is extremely mismatched or so deteriorated that it cannot resist moisture penetration. If the painting is necessary, the natural color of the brick shall be used. And also the guidelines call to minimize the number of colors on an exterior to 3, except where accent colors may reflect a particular historic character. And I will answer any questions if there are any.
You mentioned this was attached to the Poston building, but the big yellow square is actually in between it and the Poston building.
It is, so, yes, it's on that block face.
Yes.
I couldn't find anything on this structure. In my research, I did find something on the yellow building next door was actually built as a carriage house to the Poston block originally, but I couldn't find anything on this one, so.
I have a question.
Yep.
The yellow brick, is that painted or is that original?
It's the natural,
Natural, okay.
It's not original, but it's yellow brick.
yeah.
Any other questions for Brett? Seeing none, we will now open the public hearing for case HZ-3-2025. Is there anyone that wishes to come forward and speak in favor? Please come forward, state your name and address. You will have 3 minutes. And when you hear the buzzer, that's off my phone. That means kind of wrap it up, please.
My name is Destiny Arnold. I am one of the owners of Tap This at 122 Public Square. We are a veteran-owned business, and we sincerely apologize. We did not know we were doing anything wrong. We just wanted to bring fun to downtown. It's an interactive mural, so it brings a lot of attention. And during the farmers market, we've had several people pop over, prom pictures taken. We're family friendly. Yeah. We hired Ola to do the mural, and he's a local artist, and he's done a lot of murals downtown and around Clarksville. Do you have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Arnold? Thank you.
Of course.
Is anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please come forward. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name's Thomas Brennan. I own the gold building and what was the red building, 122 and 124 Public Square. If you guys will go back a couple of pictures by chance to the original street view that you guys had. So when I bought the building, it had some pretty serious water damage. If you look above the window, you can see where, at the time, the building had been empty. I've owned it 2-3 years. I tried to salvage the original brick. We paid a mason a lot of money to cut the mortar off and tried to put the original bricks back, but it did leave it pretty unsightly because the mortar didn't match, and there's probably no way to really zoom in, but if you zoom in, several of those cracks were repaired with new mortar and the old brick. So when Tap This rented the building from us, I had offered to pay for half of the exterior facade of the building. I had some plans for it, and I was hoping to get a renter in there that liked what I wanted to do, and I offered to pay for half if I had the input on what was to be done. The relationship might have been a little rocky at first, so they didn't want my opinion or my money, and I did not have anything to do with the process until it opened and I had a beer. So I did not, I stayed away from the project because I was pretty much told that, you know, they had a GC and they were handling it, and like I said, I offered half for my opinion and they didn't want it. Having said that, I love the mural. I think it's great. It's interactive. It brings people downtown. If you go on visitclarksville.org and you click on their Art Walk page, the very first two things on things to do, arts and culture, public art, the city is actually advertising. The city's actually advertising murals as things to do, and none of these are interactive. They're beautiful. I love Starry Night and God Bless and the one that Austin P did, but this one actually brings people downtown, and I think that's good for downtown, and that, you know, you can hashtag it and hashtag Clarksville, and I think it's another attraction that's non-event driven. As I talk to people like Jody and these businesses that are struggling downtown, I feel like they really need, you know, anything that we can do to get more foot traffic downtown, and this would be one of those things, and I think the city could also benefit from it. If y'all have any questions, I'll take it because the buzz just went off.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Brennan? Anybody have any questions for Mr. Brennan?
I just want to clear the record up. You said you were aware they were doing work, but were you aware it was a mural, or you were just aware they were painting the building?
I was not aware of anything. I was kindly told nicely to butt out. We rented at triple net, which means you have to pay for all of the upgrades and repairs to the building. So I wanted to do some things there myself that I thought would really make it look good. I seen Angie's building, which is the 2 doors or 3 doors down once Mr. Powers builds, that's been remodeled. And I wanted, you know, I really wanted to make it pop. I really wanted to do something nice there. So when I offered and was politely told no, that was the last I had anything to do with it. And it was, like I said, that was right when we rented the building. There was some upgrades, I guess, to the electrical and stuff that, you know, maybe they thought I should have paid for. I don't know. But in any event, we just stayed away. So I was unaware that they were going to paint the building. It needed to be painted, but I figured that their contractor would probably, you know, the lease says you're supposed to go through all the proper channels, and I would have figured since they hired a GC, I had went to Minchie's, which is her partner owns that business also, and I had snuck in there and took a look at what he had done there, and I was satisfied that it was professional looking, looked good, and I thought that it would, I would butt out.
So I think you might have answered it kind of a roundabout way. The lease gives them the permission to do that. You were not necessarily asked specifically about the pattern or the color of the building, but they have the permission through the lease to do this.
If going through the proper channels, yes, sir.
Yes, okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Brennan? Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Please come forward, state your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes.
Yes, greetings, everyone. Jody Isaacs, 130 Strawberry Alley. I am totally in favor and want to support not only a new business coming downtown, but bringing attention to Public Square as well, to include that in our downtown experience, other than just the marketplace or our Saturday morning markets. It has already proven to bring lots of people to that area for all the selfies that are taken. But I just love expanding. We just need all the enthusiasm that we can muster for our beautiful, the heartbeat of our town, which gets very little attention. I think it's had many stints over time, and I would love to see a full, healthy heart going, and I think that we're on the right track. I think if we can just step back and take another look as to what it is, as to signage, we're so stuck on certain things. And if we can start to look at how it's affecting the whole instead of one little older system, I think that we might just need a refresh on that. I was on a mural board for a couple of years, which went nowhere because it has to go through this process and everybody's so stuck on a certain thing. You look at vibrant downtowns, it is colorful and beautiful and vibrant. And I think that we have the opportunity to embrace that as well. So I fully embrace this moment. I think it's the start of something that we could go somewhere. So thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Isaac? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, that was 3 in favor. Do we have anyone that wishes to speak in opposition? Anyone that wishes to speak in opposition, please come forward, state your name and address. Going once, going twice, gone. We will now close the public hearing for case HZ-3-2025. Do you have any questions or a motion?
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I got comments. You can either do it before or after the vote because I don't want to influence the vote, but I do have some comments on murals and to explain more of the position of the Planning Commission and downtown.
Go ahead.
You want me to go now? All right. We've dealt with this several times over the last 7 or 8 years. There's been several murals that have come up. The biggest thing we have to remember, both as board members and as staff, is the First Amendment. You know, this is a mural that today is not objectionable. Anyone can paint their building at any point, and if it comes here and it's objectionable, say it's a political cause or a foreign cause or something that maybe is unsavory, you don't have the right to say, I don't like it because it's not a nice image or it wasn't painted very nicely. So staff, we have to look at this from a content neutral perspective where we say, should it be painted? Shouldn't it be painted? And this is in a historic district. This isn't just a blank wall. This isn't just a cinder block wall on the side of a parking deck. This is a historic structure in one of our oldest historic districts in town. And I think that's where the rules tried to, when they were first put in, address some of this. We've had a rash of murals back in about 2019, 2018, 2020, and then it kind of cooled off for a little bit. I personally look at it a little bit like a tattoo. It's the new thing, but in 2 or 3 years or even 10 or 15 years, it's going to be faded, old, and has been. They need to be refreshed. They need to be upkept, and that does take time and effort. We had an ordinance ready with the previous city mayor ready to go. Kind of hit some roadblocks with legal at the time, and it is definitely something we're going to consider. Again, I think a portion of a building, a portion of definitely blank walls, retaining walls. There's a lot of places downtown I think have better opportunities than the side of a historic building for this. But according to the rules, you're really just looking today at paint and nothing else. And that's how staff is looking at it. Painting unpainted brick and painting more than 3 colors. That's simply the rules that we're taking into account here. We have no say or no opinion on what has been painted there, but I just caution the board in the future. It's good now. It could be something that may not be savory in the future. I'll take any questions, but I just think that needed to be stated so that you understand we're coming from a point of content neutrality.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Tindall? Yep.
When we did the mural on the side of the 420 building, the Starry Night mural, was that considered signage? I know it was the downtown district.
That was way before my, well, what way? 2 or 3 years before my time here. Yeah. I doubt it came
No,
through.
no,
the
it
board.
did. Was that when I was on it before?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was generated through the Clean Green and Safe Committee, because I was on that committee when we approved it.
But I know I heard about that, and I'm not
So
adjudicating
back when
that.
TRC adjudicated the Common Design Review Board, that's how far back that's going.
Oh, okay. I'm getting old.
Any other questions for Mr. Tindall?
This may be new, but I just wanted to know, it's already painted white. They didn't know they were supposed to get permission to repaint or to paint over the brick. Am I understanding this? And so now we've got to vote yes or no?
Correct. It's really, you need to look at it from perspective of Mr. Clemens' 2 bullet points of painting unpainted brick, which is really just the front of the building, maybe the back of the building. The side was painted, and if they just came in for the side, Brent corrected me if I'm wrong, we would have considered that maintenance if they just wanted to scrape and repaint the white with white paint. That side has been white in the past. I don't know if hold on. The street view doesn't show this side, but I think if you look back in the street view, it was a more faded white on that side of the
Yeah, it
building.
was.
And then you heard the testimony today about, and you can see it in this picture, the tuck pointing that has been taking place. So that would kick in another section of the regulations that talks about when the brick is in disrepair. And I don't think this is necessarily taking moisture,
Unsightly.
but you could make a case, and I think that's why it comes to the board when it's unpainted brick, because there are times you do need to consider the facts of the matter. So that's really what's before you today.
Any other questions for Mr. Tindall?
I have an issue that, and I believe that the guidelines aren't getting out. You know, they purchased this, or they lease this building, okay? Who takes the guidelines to them and says, okay, these are the guidelines, or who gives them access to a copy? Because we've got a pink building on Franklin that a stop work order's on. So either the real estate agents aren't getting the word, or it's not getting out to the people who are marketing these properties or are leasing these properties. They're not getting the information out and say, look, these are the guidelines you have to follow. So if you're gonna paint your building, it's gotta come before the board, okay? And there are guidelines to let you, or to look at it. We've already approved painting one building downtown. And it hasn't started yet, but we've approved that. So, and we'll deal with the other building when it comes before the board. But I think it's, and I'm not taking anybody's side, but we have to do a better job of getting that information out to people who are going to open businesses downtown. So just to say, well, it's up to you to find out what you gotta do. Now, part of that's probably buildings and codes, but I think it goes deeper than that. We have to make sure that they get the information, that they can make a decision about what they're gonna do with the building they're leasing or buying.
Thank you for that comment. They did note they hired a local artist, and I know that local artist has been here before on similar matters, so I don't think that message has been lost in the past. But I think we could work with building and codes about having more of a handbook on restoring, especially the historic districts.
Any other questions for Mr. Tindall? Seeing none, any motion? Is there a motion?
A motion to accept.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Leave it carries.
It does.
Congratulations. Okay, at this time, is there any other business to come before us? Any
No other business. No other business.
And no other business. Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment limited to, or not on the agenda? Anyone that wishes to make? When I make a request, can we, on the next agenda, can we move that up to the top?
Yeah.
Towards the top instead.
I don't think that's a problem.
Okay. Anyone wish to make any public comments? Yes, ma'am.
How many do we have? I think we have a couple. We have more than 3. We got 1, 2, just 2, maybe 3? Okay.
These are items not on the agenda.
We'll make you arm wrestle for the 3rd position.
I can make that super fast.
Well,
No.
Okay.
Please come to
it's
the
still
microphone.
3 people regardless.
3
It's,
people. State your name and address.
Thomas Brennan, 1950 Queens Bluff Ways, because it's really not pertaining when you pull an H1 permit, does building codes not have like a do's and don'ts, or, I mean, but to David's point there, that might be an idea, just pitching that out.
Thanks. Anyone else wants to make a comment, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Jennifer Rudolph, 313 Hampshire Court. I didn't want to speak in favor or against. We have rules, and rules state that we cannot paint brick that is unpainted without approval of this board. I think it should be that way. But I think the biggest problem is we have building owners and we have people that are renting or leasing these buildings in H1 overlay districts that don't know the rules. And I think that we need to come up with a matter in how we handle that. If it's when the person purchases the property, that is part of the real estate transaction. I don't want to dump anything else on building and codes. I think it should be in the real estate process when it's purchased. If a lease is to be done, then the owner of the building already is aware, and it's their duty to pass it on to their renters or their lessees. And I think that is the best way to handle this going forward. And I don't know how we can accomplish it, but I think it should be at the real estate transaction level. So therefore, everyone is informed. I like the mural, but I like that we have rules in H1. So that's why I wanted to do a public comment, because I couldn't really approve or disapprove of my personal opinion. But we need to look at how we can go forward with this.
It's a good
Thanks.
And we got one more. Anyone else wish to make, please come forward, state your name and address.
Hello, yes. My name is Olashabomi Akabashran. I'm the artist that did the two images that he brought up, the God Bless and the current one, amongst a couple of others. I agree with David Smith and this young lady. I understand that the rules are made for a reason. However, no one really knows the rules. And like this gentleman said, I was here, 4 or 5 years ago for one mural, but I've also done 3 other murals. So in my mind, there also needs to be some consistency. I did the God Bless mural, nothing was said. That building also had no paint on it. In the rear, nothing was ever brought to the board at all, right? So then I did another building owned by Miss May, which was him-spired, and again, that was the only other one brought to the board that I'm aware of. So as a gentleman of color and an Asian lady owning the building, every time that it seems that I start to do something, something happens, right? So what am I supposed to think and believe when the last time, I don't know if it was you or a guy named Jason, I'm in here sitting down, not saying a thing, and he's rude and says the rogue artist that does whatever the hell he wants is painting and doing this, da 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 da. I'm like, the level of disrespect at the same time when we're not knowledgeable of the information is kind of wild to me. So at the end of the day, I'm an artist, I paint murals. The last time I was here, my understanding was the problem was the size of the sign, because he actually had him-spired in on it. This time, there's no advertisement for the business itself, so how can you actually call that signage? There's no advertisement for anything. It is literally a community mural that says whatever it says. I feel like it would have never been brought up if it wasn't so queer, because it's rainbow colors. Does that make sense? That is my perspective. That is my perspective. Right. I'm not saying that that's what the reason was, but that's what the outside world is going to think, including myself, is that. But the number one thing is information. If we get the information fully out there to the building owners, that is the only way. I get hired to do a job. If they already know they can't do it, they wouldn't hire me. And the second point, I wasn't their original artist to do it. They were bringing somebody from Nashville to do it, and that Nashville person wasn't getting their concept. So they found me, if that makes any sense. So what you were saying, I get it, but it's not me just doing whatever I want to do. I have to make a living as well. I prefer to make a living in the town that I live in, but this type of situation makes me go outside, just like a lot of other businesses that I've had to close in the downtown area in order to survive, because the difficulty to move forward. And the last thing I'll say, if we ever look at any other city of our size, smaller or greater, and we now go into their downtown areas, there's some form of art that thrives so that the city can grow. Right now, our Roxy is one of those things, but that's gonna be shut down for a while. And what else is there? If we want the city to grow, which local businesses do, something has to give. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, if there's no other business, I will
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
debate properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Oh, you got